What is the most important? The pedigree or the dog or none? I have seen a lot of people talking about this conversation, these elements, and a lot of them are very lost. Everything is important when you are in the highest level. Everything. The dog is important. The pedigree is important. Who cook the pedigree is even more important. The person that is handling the dog. When I say handling, I mean developing the dog. Everything is important.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Let me give you something that is very important, and I want to help you. Okay? I know this is your video.
Present yourself. Who are you?
My name is Chico Lopez. If you don't know who I am, Google me. Just put Chico Lopez dogs. You'll find me.
Exactly.
And so, I want to tell you something. You know what's so important? In the basis of everything that is so important is when people come and say, what's more important, this or that? And in reality, the level of importance is not enough to matter. It's just a matter of conversation. People want to have one opinion or the other. Look, it's funny. You know what's important is what you said. Everything is important, but the most important thing is the man. The man is the most important because the man creates the dog. And when that dog becomes a super dog because he has merits and accolades, which is the only way the dog could become a super dog, at the moment the dog has puppies, the man knows how to breed him, and he creates a legacy that is called a pedigree. And that legacy, that pedigree, it gives importance in the pedigree. But you still can think about these two guys. One saying what's more important. One says, the dog. And the first teller said, man, I got a dog. He's really great. Whatever. He said, send me the pedigree. Dude, if the dog is more important, you should be asking, tell me about the dog, own the breeder, and send me a picture of the dog. A lot of times you say, oh, I got a bolio dog. Blah, blah. You send it, the dog look like a rat. You know?
Yeah.
Or then you say that the dog is like a Barracuda dog. They do look like Barracuda, but they're worthless in marriage. So when you look at the pedigree should tell you story on how great the dog is. If you have a pedigree that is a dead end, like you look at Barracuda pedigree, it's a dead end. He goes there, bang, dead. His best kids didn't make it. His best children didn't make it. So the great
we
man...
we have many examples of dogs that
where dead end. Hunch is one of them.
see, but that's no.
But people use hunch. People use hunch pedigree. People use hunch to breed. You know why? Because they sell you the pedigree.
Exactly.
So they sell you the pedigree of hunch, and the percentages. Yeah, I got pedigree from hunch. He's 50% this, 35% that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
let me just tell you something. You have many stories that
Alright.
people don't understand who cooked the dog is very important, who cooked the pedigree, the ingredients, but also the man that developed the dog is very important.
Both sides.
Both sides.
Before and after.
Before and after. The dog itself,
The
pedigree.
Hollingsworth, the Acre, and the Chico Lopez.
Exactly.
That's
So-
important.
So remember
How
that.
about the ones in between? How about the other guys that work with Hollingsworth dogs and didn't create a Mayday?
Exactly. That's what I'm.
How about all the Mayday dogs that didn't
That's
create
what
a
I'm
Nelson
saying.
Buck?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Imagine that Hollingsworth cook Mayday. He did
Say created.
Created,
As a
okay.
cook, because people don't understand that. They're gonna, some joyous are gonna think they're eating dogs now.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
So,
make a complaint. They're eating dogs. Here.
Hollingsworth make Mayday. But if Mayday was in the hands of some joyo, anyone, unless Victor Eckhart, was not going to be
At that
made.
time, no one. Let me explain to you something. That's a very important topic. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to be the first one to say
So
it
the
here.
driver is important. The engineers that make the car is important.
Bravo,
the parts are
took it to my
important,
section.
and the brand
Took
is
it to
important.
my level. Cars. The brand of the car is important.
Exactly.
The driver of the brand is important.
And when
And
we are talking about when we are talking about these elements, we are talking about Le Mans. We are not
Mans,
talking
yeah,
about
exactly.
the guy that owns a Honda in the corner. Exactly.
Bravo. So
Understand?
we're talking about, let's say, Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
The brand is important. The engineers they select to tune, which will be the handler, to tune that car for that particular race, and the driver how he drives that particular machine on that particular trip, on that everything is important. As
Everything
you said.
matters.
Everything matters. So the thing about what is more important is like everything matters. But where do we start? We start with the brand. We start with Ferrari. That was the base.
Exactly.
Ferrari will hire the proper driver, the proper engineers, and not only this, the proper engineers, as they are learning and escalating in life to become the engineers that they say, I want to be so good, the Ferrari wants to hire me.
Exactly.
And the driver wants to be so good, the Ferrari wants to hire them to drive. So it's an eternal race. But when it comes to the dogs, every single pedigree or most dogs is a salad of weak intentions by seasoned people. What it means? This guy here on the quarter of the top of the pedigree, pedigree has 2 grandparents, 2 grandmothers. So each quarter has a mix of guys. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Mix of salad.
By the
Salad of
time you
fruit.
get the dog, you are going into that expression to where good dogs is where you find them, not because you own them. And then these bother me so much. And I say great dogs got to be where Chico Lopez create them. By definition, I had to become and reinvent myself into a great dog man, a great breed. And we're going to go in circles.
And let me tell you something.
And we're going to go in circles. Why Chico? Okay,
for,
not Chico.
for
I don't matter.
all the people that say, oh, the dog makes the pedigree. So let me tell you something about a dog that was very famous in the Bronx. What is the name of the dog, question?
Grand Champion Bruno Boy. He didn't have a brand, but he had a damn driver.
Exactly. He was a grand champion. He was a cover of a magazine.
2 magazines.
2 magazines. But he has no pedigree.
Being in books, he's a legend
So
from the Bronx.
every one of those guys say the dog makes the pedigree. If there is no future, the dog can be a great performer. It's a dead end. He cannot clone themselves to make better animals. He cannot be like make better puppies than himself, right?
Correct. In order for you to be a producer, you can be a performer and not be a producer. Do you know how many? That's why I tell people, and I was telling you as well.
Yeah.
I said Bruno Boy was a grand champion that didn't produce anything, because I say he don't produce anything. But then there were a few grand champions, because grand champions you just don't get a lot of them in truckloads.
Yes.
So there were a few grand champions between 1993, 94, 95, 96, 97 till 2000. And those grand champions, the grand majority didn't produce anything, but it's different because the dog Bruno Boy didn't produce anything because I didn't want to. I was young and smart.
You didn't bred him.
And 1 second, but the other grand champions got bred and had a support team made of different buyers that'll buy the dog. They'll become cheerleaders of the dog and start breeding the dog and giving dogs away to their friends, to the cousins, to people. Those dogs created mutts that when they trickle down, they water down the line with their inventions about cross, not cross, battle cross, the new kennel with the Z, with the Hamad, Haki Balash, the Hashti Labashti. They create these mutts that spread through the 1990s, and those dogs became each one a dead end, which means the dog itself did not matter going forward. I'll give you a perfect example. Did Barracuda matter tremendously going forward? People will tell you, I got a Barracuda dog. They wouldn't tell you his name. Like, I got a toss here. You know, he's an awesome buck dog. He's a mechanic buck dog. But, you know, he's a
Everybody talks about Barracuda because the dog itself is nobody.
And the parents and grandparents are nobodies. So
everyone saying that I have a Bolio dog in 2024 is because from Bolio till today, there is no one in the dogs that is relevant.
Can I tell you something? You need to feel bad about someone that got Mayday dogs. And the best thing on the pedigree is Luke Kane. Now listen to me. Luke Kane, poor producer, in the grand scale. Hunch, tremendously poor producer. Man biter, by the way, should never been bred. And Barracuda, tremendously poor producer. So you got 3 sons of Mayday, 3 are grand champions that produce whack. And he's always compared to what? You take any of those 3 dogs and compare it with a toss, or you compare it with mechanic buck.
We were talking about the dead ends.
Dead ends. So the dead ends basically is where you're going nowhere. I had a guy. I don't want to say his name. He's in Arizona, and he has this bloodline of dogs that was very successful. All of a sudden, he got like automatically like on a parachute stop. Nothing going forward. He told me, Chico, I try everything. Flat. Mexican dogs, East Coast dogs, West Coast dogs, cross this, cross that, and I realized that there was no future in it. I just got out of the dogs. And so he said, you had the key on how to open up my bloodline. And the thing is that Awesome Buck was the catalytic dog to not only that bloodline, but to the Red Boy and in the other side of the Honey Bunch dogs. And so I understood that from the very beginning, and it was a blessing. You know, my life is just like a Forrest Gump type of story all the time. But I want to tell you this. People all the time want to be masters at things that they don't master. You'll find these people that want to play quarterback. They want to play number 10, but they're capable to carry the buckets. They'll be fantastic. They'll be the best water boy in the team. They'll be the best runner. They don't qualify to be the quarterback and to be the captain of the team. And maybe they could be support for the team, but not the captain, not even
They can
play.
be a fan.
They can be a really great fan and a scale, you know.
And understand football from A to Z.
To Z and play nothing. These guys, once they learn anything about the dogs, what they want to do is be masters. And they all say, oh, I opened a YouTube channel. They think it's just opening it. You got to have talent, son. They want to create a following, and everybody can create a following. If you want to create a following or retarded people in the dogs, there is a few channels already of retarded people. I mean, if you want to get somebody that does things, there's always someone looking to follow somebody.
And everybody has
So
an
if you
opinion.
open a trash
They
can-
are zero on action, zero on merits, but they are full of opinions. They are
Opinions,
the ones,
yes.
the warriors of the
There-
computers.
yeah. And one thing about it, they will be looking to see if you have a fly that step on your forehead. They will be looking to see if your makeup is not correct. They will be looking if your glasses are not good. They'll be looking at anything. And what they do and what they need, these maggots, they are cloud chasers. The first time you want to know about a cloud chaser is when his last name is not worth being anything. You have to make up a fake name, like I am, let's say, Danny DeVito, or my name is Al Pacino, or my name is Kennels of the Lost World, Tough Kennels, Super Maggot Kennels. They don't have their last name. The name that their father gave them is absolutely a zero credibility. So when they get a phantom name, a BS name, and they use you or me as a cloud chase, I will give my opinion on this topic. The motherfucker is nobody.
But if there is
But it's a following.
100
It's
people
a following.
there is listen to these guys, they are like basically everyone is lost.
No. Look at those guys' videos. Without mentioning my name, 200, 300.
So let's focus on our topic. What is the topic? We already touched it. The dog.
Only
or
the brand
pedigree.
matters, man. I make it very short. Only the
Everything
brand
matters. The dog matters. The pedigree matters. The chef there is making the pedigree. There is having the understanding which dog can be bred and each dog and what dog is not worth to be bred is very important, and the person developing the dog is very important. Coach, do you want to conclude anything in the video?
No, I think you said a lot of it, and I think for most of these guys, I will be surprised if they're already at this part of the video. Most of them, the retention span is the same as of a goldfish. So
And let's just clarify something. We are not touching any topic about show dogs. When it comes to show dogs, a completely different thing. They has no.
No. Listen to me.
There
The
is
show
not.
dog people are.
Imagine that you have a dog, and there is a competition of showing dogs, and only like 3 or 4 dogs arrive in this competition. The less worst of the 4 dogs are the ones that takes the ribbon. So there is no this kind of competition that really makes any conversation, right?
I wouldn't entertain the conversation. Most people are the dogs, my friend. To be honest with you, it's a little sad, and I wish that young people will listen to this. Be smart, play your part. Become a great dog owner, because becoming a fake dogman is the worst thing you can do. But if you want to know the truth, at the end of the day, when you buy a dog, do the same thing you applied when you were buying a cell phone. You either buy an Apple from iPhone or you buy a Samsung. Everything else is level Z. And basically that's what you're dealing with if you don't have Apple or Samsung. If you like Apple, you're at the top of the mountain, you know, and you can have an argument about what's better, whatever. But at least get something somewhere. Okay?